Hello everyone. So today we are going to look into imaginary numbers as well as complex numbers. So coming to definition of imaginary number is square root of negative number. Example, suppose there is number minus 25. So square root of this negative number is called imaginary number, and this can be written as 25 root into minus 1. Okay, so I am making this as 25 into minus 1, and finally when I simplify, this can be written as 25 root into root over minus 1, and this can be written as 5 square into root over minus 1. Square and root will be cancelled, and this will be 5 root over minus 1, and this part in this number can be written as I, where I is equal to root over minus 1. Okay, so here finally it comes to 5i, so this can be written as 5i. Clear? So example, one of the example is root over minus 5, and similarly you can write as some root 6 root minus 16, so on, etc. Root 4i, some 4i, 3i, or some random number. Okay, and if suppose there is any number which is not a perfect square, suppose here when we consider it is a product of 25 into minus 1, and 25 can be written of 5 square, right? Similarly, if there is a case where we use some number which cannot be written in the form of square, in that case, like suppose we have minus 5, so this comes to be root 5 into root minus 1. As I said, root minus 1 can be replaced with I will highlight here this, and this can be written as I. So here we can write as minus 5i. So I is out of this this square root. Clear? So the numbers which does have perfect square root can be simplified, whereas the other numbers which doesn't have perfect square cannot be simplified. The overall concept here is the minus value in the square root is converted into some I value. So by just for simplification, and this root of minus negative numbers cannot be solved. So root over minus 1 cannot be solved. You cannot make a perfect square for that. Like if suppose there is a 4, you can write it as 2 into 2 is equal to 4. If there is 1 into 1 is 1, so 1 square can be 1 can be written as 1 square. 4 can be written as 2 square, but for minus 1 value you cannot make a perfect square. So these are imaginary numbers which we are imagining. Okay, so we are somewhat doing some imaginary calculations, right? So these type of numbers are called imaginary numbers. So just I am highlighting just examples, and the main part of this concept is I is equal to minus 1 root over minus 1. So this can be any variable, I or j, some cases k. So just most of them uses I. Clear? So this is related to imaginary numbers. And coming to complex numbers, in complex numbers we do have, it's a combination of real numbers as well as imaginary numbers. In my earlier concepts I taught you about real numbers, and here I am going to teach you about complex number. Complex number is in the form of a plus ib. Clear? So here this part and this part, these are two parts of this number, and this comes real part and this comes imaginary, which I taught here, imaginary which I taught here, and this comes real number. So it's a complex number is a combination of real as well as imaginary number. So here a and b, what are a and b? It can be any variables or any real numbers. Actually, in fact, these are real numbers. See, a can bear any value, 6, 7, 8, so on, negative values, some etc. A can bear any values. Similarly, B can bear any values, but since it does have some I value, Okay, I into product of some number which is exactly the imaginary number. So this part is imaginary and this part is real number. So coming to definition of this complex number is a combination of real number and imaginary number, okay, which does have real number and imaginary number. So a number which does have real part as well as imaginary part is called a complex number. That's the definition for this. So let's go to some examples. Suppose 2 plus 3i. So here we do have real number, real part is 2, and whereas imaginary part as 3i. So I am saying 3i, not 3. Whereas 3 is a real number, but 3i is imaginary number. So we should say the entire unit. This is imaginary number, whereas in the imaginary number we do have a real part and imaginary part, that is root over minus 1. So entire thing should be called as imaginary number. So it's a real number plus imaginary number. So similarly the other examples include minus 5 plus 6i, minus 3 plus some root 7i, so on, etc. So this concludes this video. So here we in this video we are into imaginary numbers as well as complex numbers. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe and share. Thank you.